As Chloe mentioned, my name is Anushka, and I work for a company called Spreadshirt. I've been working at Spreadshirt as a director of product almost for about 4 years now, and I want to talk to you about global online marketplaces and whether it's a good reason for creatives to get onto marketplaces, whether it's lucrative, whether it's a quick route to market, and also some findings from my experience about pitfalls and complexities that online marketplaces present today. So, Spreadshirt, what do Spreadshirt do? Spreadshirt is an innovative global e-commerce platform that enables people, empowers people to spread their ideas. We're a print-on-demand company that allows people to spread their ideas onto tangible products. So we have over 200 products on our platform, and people can come onto our platform, and they have access to 3 points of sales. The 3 points of sales being the online marketplace. We have a merchandising solution in the form of white label shops, and also a personalization area where people can come and create their own products on the fly and print them on T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and all kinds of accessories. Spreadshirt is actually the only platform in our industry that hosts all of these 3 points of sales in a single e-commerce platform. Let me go a little bit more into what Spreadshirt do as a company. So as you can see here behind me, we've been in operation since 2002, so 15 years this year, and we operate in 18 countries. I will explain as to why this is an important figure in the later slides. We also have localized content in 12 languages and also in 11 currencies. Stats are there behind me, but let me get into more the juicy stuff that you're here actually to hear from me. So what is actually an online marketplace? According to the Wikipedia definition, it's an e-commerce site where information is provided in terms of product and service by third parties, but the transactions are actually being done by the operator of the online marketplace. So basically, in a nutshell, it brings together buyers and sellers together. What that actually means is, if you see behind me, you can see the workflow. Creatives, that's basically the sellers, they upload designs onto the global marketplace. They will also go through an exercise of trying to attract consumers into other marketplace through things like social sharing or word of mouth. And when the customers come onto the platform, because they've heard something that is available from this creative, they can purchase that on our platform. And we take care of the transaction, the logistics, the shipments, everything that entails into the entire value supply chain, and then we take the payment from the customers that come on. We then give the seller a design commission that they have specified when they uploaded a design onto our marketplace. Again, I will go into a little bit more detail later. So marketplace models, there are 3 different types of models. When you talk about Spreadshirt, we do the entire fulfillment, the full chain, from all the way to sourcing and all the way into customer service. So we do the product sourcing for the customers. We do the marketing. We do the fulfillment. And we also do the transaction handling, the shipment. So it's an entirely risk-free and completely free solution. But then you get other models like what Amazon has for third-party sellers. They don't do the sourcing for third-party sellers, and they don't do the customer service either. And then you also have just the pure selling model, which is companies like Etsy and eBay, where they just take care of the marketing and just provide the platform for sellers to come onto it and make the products appear on their platform. So they need to take care of the sourcing, they need to take care of the customer service, and they also need to take care of the fulfillment. By fulfillment, I mean the logistics that are involved in getting the product that they want to sell over to the customer that has actually purchased it. So how important is all of this stuff? Research from a company called eMarketer suggests that by the year 2020, which is basically in 3 years' time, this business is going to account for $4 trillion. Now, that is a vast amount of money. And online marketplaces are going to account for a significant proportion of that. 40% of global online marketplaces is going to be taken out of this chunk, which means companies like Amazon, Alibaba, eBay are going to account for that 40%. So you need to ask yourself, can any retailer really afford not to get on this bandwagon? In a nutshell, the answer is no. You have to get on this because it's a lucrative market, and if you don't, you're going to lose out on potential revenue. The data also suggests that in Europe, there's growth rates between 10 to 20%, and if you are going to do growth targets for your company, you need to either match this 10 to 20% or exceed it if you want to be successful. Right. So now I talked about a little bit about marketplaces, and as the title says, it says creatives. What is actually a creative? At Spreadshirt, for the online marketplace section, we target two types of personas. We have the illustrators and the meme providers. Illustrators are people who actually spend a lot of time on their artwork. They actually have a lot of design skills, and they actually they're the kind of people that walk around with tablets, and even if they go to restaurants, they draw on napkins. They really are meticulous about the designs that they're creating. And these people are what we call illustrators. So they have very, very high definition, very vibrant artwork that they upload to our platform. And then you get the meme providers on the other side, and these guys are basically, they don't have that much design skills. They're very basic text, shape designs. It kind of all starts off at a party. Somebody says a joke. It's funny. This guy decides to put it on a T-shirt. And then when their friends and family or strangers walking past them on the street think it's funny. And then they go, oh, let me make some money out of this. So what they do is they go, oh, OK, I'm going to promote these designs, and then I'm going to make money out of it. But the problem is that these guys are basically, they rely on social trends, things that are buzzwords, so they have a very short lifespan. They have to be able to get that stuff onto the marketplace as and when these topics are trending. So these are the two different types of creatives that we actually target on our marketplace. And of course, in a marketplace for creatives, you need to be able to work without borders, which means that we, as a marketplace that is global, need to be able to give these creatives some kind of solution so that if, for example, they upload some content in the UK, that not only is it their audience that is from the UK, but is also available to people from other countries, Spain, the US, across the pond, basically. I mean, we have over 20,000 selling creatives, 600,000 orders, so it's vital that international publishing of this artwork that they actually publish onto our platform is available. What kind of money do these creatives work? A few examples. That's not really Juno, and that's not really Colin, just fake images, because we have to we have to take care of the privacy of our partners. But in general, the mid to low-end earners earn about 10,000 to 15,000 euros in excess a year when they upload stuff onto a marketplace. But you can go as high as 60,000 euros. And if you are actually selling on all the 3 points of sales on our marketplace, you can earn as much as 600,000 euros a year. So when we say lucrative, it is lucrative because it's risk-free, and it's also completely free for these people to actually publish something to a marketplace and make money. It's actually a win-win situation for us, too. In 2016, we spent over 13 million euros in commission. We actually gave this money away to our creatives and people who sell on our marketplace, because this is 13 million across all 3 points of sales. That is the marketplace, the white label shops, and the personalization platform. But just on the marketplace was about 5 million, just over 5 million euros. So what you do is you come to our marketplace, you upload a design, you say, I want to earn between $1 to $20 in commission. Of course, the higher the amount that you put on the commission, the chances that your product is going to sell is low because the product price increases. So if you have a T-shirt that is $16.99 as a base price, and you put £2 as commission for that design, the price of the T-shirt goes up to $18.99. So when somebody actually buys that T-shirt, we know that this T-shirt was sold with your design on it, so we give you that £2 in commission after tax. So it's £1.62 after tax. So it's a quite quick way to sell stuff on these marketplaces. the lifespan of creatives on our marketplace. It's very important that these guys actually stay on our platform for a long period of time. It's not just that people who come in, upload something, make a quick buck, and then they leave. We found out that through data analysis over the course of 15 years, that the people who are the most successful are the people who are committed on our platform, and which is actually true not just for Spreadshirt, but also to companies like Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, Rakuten, Sears, whoever it is. The long-term relationship between the creatives, the sellers, and the online marketplace operator is actually going to be a benefit, because we can also, as you can see here, there are benefits from having committed creatives. We can actually safeguard our assortment. We know what people want to buy on our platform because the creatives are doing the promotions. We know what kind of target groups are coming in on our platform. We also know what kind of additional marketing power that we need to do or that we are getting, because they're also sharing their stuff on social media and saying, hey, look what I did on Spreadshirt, come to Spreadshirt. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. Right, so the most interesting thing is how complex are these things to build? Because it is a complex system, and if you want to build an online marketplace which is global, and you want to make it scalable internationally, it needs to be robust, and it needs to take care of a lot of things. So I'm just going to go through each one of those things very quickly in detail. International strategy, right. Localizing your brand and your website is essential, it's key. A lot of people want to buy from their local domain. If you're in the UK, you have more trust to a .co.uk website. You have more trust to a website that is offering you to pay in GBP and not in euros or dollars or any other currencies. And basically, you need to be able to translate your content into the local service, into the local demographic that you are actually targeting towards. Actually, there's a very famous quote that the ex-West German chancellor that said, if I'm selling to you, I speak your language. If I'm buying, dann müssen Sie Deutsch sprechen. And the last part of that means you have to speak German. So, which is really true. If you want to sell something, you will speak that person's language, but if you want someone to come and buy from your site, you need to localize the content. So, international strategy, user experience, customer service, you need to be able to have customer service able to speak the language of the customers that you're selling to. We sell in 18 different countries, and we need to have customer service representatives who actually speak those languages in those 18 countries. So Spanish, German, Italian, French, English, of course. We haven't expanded into Asian markets, but if we do expand into Asian markets, then we need to get people who speak Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. Then cultural differences. It is not just about the language, but it's also cultural nuances that you need to take care of. For example, US and the UK are very different, even though they're both English-speaking countries. It's the same between China and Japan. Asian market, but very, very different cultural differences between those two countries. Let me give you an example. We wanted to send newsletters to our partners that actually signed up on our platform, and they've given us their email address. But not everyone has opted in to receiving a newsletter. In the US, it doesn't matter if you have opted in or opted out. You can send these newsletters to those customers because we want to tell them, hey, look at the best-selling design of the day. Are you interested? And look at these designs that are kind of similar to it that are also on our platform. And we found out that there was an increase in conversion rate when we send these newsletters out weekly. We tried to do that in Germany, massive fail. Because in Germany, the law is very, very strict. If a customer has not opted in to receiving a newsletter, you could get into legal trouble. Every time somebody sends a legal letter to our company saying they received an email, really, they actually get legal letters sent to our company saying that they got an email because they didn't opt in, we have to spend 500 euros. You have to give them 500 euros. So it works in the US, but it does not work in Germany. So you need to take care of those kind of things when you're actually dealing with a global online marketplace. Local business rules. Tax, huge topic. This is where some things where partnering with a company that operates internationally is probably better than actually organic growth. you partner with a business that has actually already tackled these problems. North American taxation, EU taxation are very, very complicated, especially German tax. We are still working on a project that actually tries to validate partner data. Basically, your name, your address. Are you the person that says you're living in that address, and is that address valid? This project has gone on for more than 3 months, and we're still trying to figure it out. And because the laws are so vague and it's not very clear-cut, we actually had to partner with firms like KPMG to advise us on what is the law here. Because if the tax authorities actually finds out that we have been giving commission payouts to a partner that really doesn't live in the address that they say that they lived in, we could get into trouble. So the tax situation is actually a very tricky thing that you need to get right when you're dealing with globally online marketplaces. It's the same thing with cross-border sales. What happens when a YouTuber in New York wants to sell a T-shirt, but then ships it to Brazil, but then the transaction actually takes place in Berlin? Spreadshirt is a German company that is headquartered in Leipzig, close to Berlin. So you can see that there are 3 different locales that are actually in this scenario. Who pays the tax? These are all things that need to be sorted out when you're talking about expansion internationally. Transaction and logistics. Shipping is actually a vital component because you need to make sure that you have shipping times and deadlines that are strictly adhered to. However, there are some, we actually opened up our shipping countries, 200 plus, in 2015, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 200 plus shipping countries. Within a week, we had to stop shipping to 10 of those countries because there was fraud, there was delivery problems, there were strikes in shipping providers, there was riots on the streets in certain countries during that time, and we had to suspend shipping to those countries because we had a lot of backlog in the shipping, and customers were complaining that they weren't getting their parcels on time. But there are some nice surprises in the form of French Polynesia and Bermuda, because they said, oh, hey, it's great that you guys are shipping to us because not many companies think about us when they're actually open shipping routes. So again, you need to make sure that you can actually provide a service level when you're expanding into all these countries, otherwise you get into customer complaints, and that is not good for your outlook in terms of social media and in terms of the publicity that is generated for your company. Shipping from a remote location is also a great way to test the market, but if you really need to dominate the market in a certain country, you really need to find solutions that can deliver very quickly to those destinations. Yeah. So another thing that I forgot to mention is when you're talking about where do you want to actually sell in and what kind of problems that you need to solve. We actually had a situation a couple of months ago where some of my colleagues came up to me and said, hey, US, 41 million people speaking Spanish. Why don't we have Spanish as a language on the US platform, Spreadshirt.com? We have Spreadshirt.es, so we have the Spanish language on our platform, but it's only English that's available in the .com platform. So they was like, come on, let's just put Spanish on there. And it's my job as the director of product to prioritize stuff. So when you're having 10 other things that you need to prioritize over bringing Spanish as a language, you need to think carefully. The small print in that is, yes, there's 41 million people living in the US that speak Spanish, but majority of them are bilingual. So having it in English is actually not a problem for them. The minority that only speak Spanish is a different demographic. And it's also not the people that we're actually targeting to. So we said, look, we can actually live without localizing this content into Spanish in the .com platform for a little bit longer until we have the resources in place to actually do this development effort. So again, it's very, very important to consider what are the things that you want to prioritize and what are the things that are actually worth doing when you have a short time to develop some of these efforts. So in a nutshell, the complexity of marketplaces is actually quite vast. I've only touched on very, very high-level things here. But just keep that in mind because the big guys that are operating in a global platform have got all of these things sorted out. So if you're considering building your own online marketplace, it might be worth considering partnering up with somebody first, or even working with companies like, there's a booth out there with the name Channel Advisor. They actually take care of partnering with all the different marketplaces interfacing, and you can actually partner with them to test the market to see if it's actually worth coming into that market before you actually start scaling in your production and your platform and trying a huge development effort. The mother of all dragons, we need to talk about Amazon. Amazon is the mother of all marketplaces. According to a survey that was done by a company called Raymond James, more than half of people who search for online shopping items now search on Amazon. Before, in 2014, it was in Google, but now it has shifted, and people actually now search on Amazon rather than Google. The thing is that somebody else is going to put a T-shirt up there and make a buck out of it, which is basically a copy of what you have. Maybe even Amazon's own team might think, hey, that product is selling really well, we might do the same thing. But what are you going to do about it? Not much you can do. You can talk about copyright infringement, but you can either work with these guys, or you can say, no, I don't want to work with you, but then you're losing out. 50 million of our revenue comes from marketplaces and shops, and out of that 50 million, 10% of the revenue that we are making is from Amazon. So the question that we asked ourselves is, 10% is quite a lot. We can either work with Amazon and get 10%, or say, no, we are actually in direct competition with you and lose out on the 10%. These guys are going to take over very, very soon. I mean, in 2009, we had Play.com in the UK, and Play.com was a direct competitor to Amazon.co.uk. They were doing quite well until about 2011, and then Rakuten, the Japanese marketplace, bought Play.com and decided that they were going to compete with Amazon. Last year, that failed too. So now no longer does Play.com exist, and neither does Rakuten.co.uk. It's just Amazon.co.uk. So you can see that the market is shifting, and you need to work with these guys rather than consider them as direct competitors and try to do everything in your power to work against them. And eBay is also the same. Well, Amazon takes about 15% of the sale item as their cost when you sell on them. eBay takes between 10 to 12%. So, but still, it's 10% of the revenue. So for us, so it's worth considering it. I mentioned Channel Advisor earlier because it's easy to integrate with other marketplaces. So we actually work with Channel Advisor. We actually went through a 6-month project integrating our platform with Amazon, just so that the best-selling designs on our platform gets put onto Amazon. And we realized that we cannot actually maintain this code base and these APIs and these black boxes that we've built if we want to scale into companies like eBay and Sears and Rakuten. So we decided that we're going to partner with Channel Advisor because it's a single point of interface, and they take care of taking the content and sending it on the eBays and the Rakutens and the Sears. So while we are still directly dealing with Amazon ourselves, we decided to integrate with Channel Advisor when we want to touch upon other marketplaces. So when you sell, when you're selling internationally, you're going to get customer feedback, as I mentioned, in different languages. So selling globally also means having a language presence in that market. So if you are integrating with these people, it's good to use them to test the market first to see if you can actually scale into those destinations before you try to do it yourself. But you need to keep in mind that working with companies like Amazon could be a tower of Jenga. What do I mean by that? It means that you need to comply with them, strict compliance. Each of these Jenga blocks could be considered as a KPI. Now, Amazon has very strict KPIs that you need to maintain. Order defect rates need to be less than 1%. Late shipment rates need to be less than 4%. You got other KPIs like return dissatisfaction rates and on-time delivery, contact rates, and all of those things. Each one of these things is a KPI. Basically, what they do is they have something called a seller performance team that monitors these KPIs on a dashboard of you as a seller. And if you slip on any one of those KPIs, you can very quickly go from that nice freestanding tower of Jenga, to this. What do you mean by this? Suspension, or getting kicked out. So, you need to take care of those things as well. If you're actually going to sell on Amazon, you need to make sure that you can actually comply with those KPIs. And because if you don't and you get kicked out, you lose money. In 2013, we got kicked out. We lost about 180,000 in revenue. We got kicked out again in 2014. We lost about 400,000 in revenue. We haven't got kicked out since because our platform is now scalable and we have a good tool set that maintains those KPIs and we are able to maintain, not breach their policy violations. So, in a nutshell, marketplaces do have the right models of growth. They have the right organization to deliver change. And basically, they take care of a lot of things for you. From the seller's perspective, they're simple to use. And in the case of Spreadshirt, they're free to use. And of course, they're mature in their distribution and their logistics as well. So yes, it is lucrative for creatives to work on online marketplaces. But it's also a win-win situation for the marketplace operator because they have increased traffic coming into their platform. So I want to leave you with a final statement, which says, Spreadshirt is totally cool marketplace. Come to Spreadshirt if you're a creative and you want to make money with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anushka, Jayawardana of Spreadshirt. Got time for a couple of questions if anybody has one to ask. We've got a couple of roving microphones. Somebody in the second to last row just there. Can you say your name and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Ben here from Tiny Me. Just had a quick question about your creatives that are loading designs on. How many of those are also loading that same content on other marketplaces, whether it's a Redbubble or one of the other places that does a similar thing?
Yeah, I mean, as a creative, it's in your best interest to make as much money as possible. So if you're going to sell on us and you find out that you're selling quite well, there's nothing that stops them from uploading the same content into Redbubble or Teespring or any of our competitors. I can't actually give you a number because we don't actually monitor how many of them sell duplicate content, but it is not something that we stop. We actually say that, hey, if you want to, because they have realized that selling on an online marketplace is lucrative. So as far as they're concerned, if they're going to make 10, 15, 60,000, 600,000 in revenue just with Spreadshirt, there's nothing stopping them from going to other platforms and duplicating their content. So I would assume that there's quite a lot of successful partners who do that. We do have the loyal partners that have been with us since, I don't know, 2005, early 2010s. They're loyal to us, and they say that, look, we're only going to sell on Spreadshirt, and when they have certain requests from us, we try to maintain those requests and try to give them their wishes because we know that they're loyal to us and they're only here to make money with us, if that answers your question.
Thank you. We've got time for possibly one more question if we have one. In that case, that completes our time, brings us to the close. Thank you very much, Anushka Jayawardana.
Thank you.
Spreadshirt. Thank you.